Welcome back. We continue our discussion with U.S. Senate candidate Leah Vukmir. Thank you again. Another issue comes from the United States Supreme Court. In a 5-4 decision, the justices approved the president's travel ban from certain Muslim nations, which Mr. Trump says harbor terrorism. Do you support this decision?
I actually do. I think that when the president initially came out with the travel ban, to me it was clearly an issue of national security, and ultimately he knows more information than we do about all of that. Obviously we don't have the same clearances, but I suspected then that it was specifically about national security, and so I think it's really important that people realize that distinction. I know a lot of people wanted to look at it from a different perspective, that it was discrimination based on religion, but my understanding all along, and I'm glad to see that that was confirmed, that it was based specifically on national security, and the Supreme Court justices agreed.
And you just brought it up, but that was going to be my follow-up question. A lot of people claim this is a policy based on bias, and obviously you don't think that is true.
I do not.
Turning to health care, today recently Senator Baldwin called on President Trump to abandon the administration's latest efforts to undo the Affordable Care Act and threaten health care for people with pre-existing conditions. What's your reaction?
Well, I am, as a nurse, someone who really understands healthcare issues, and that's why I want to go to Washington to help with how we deal with the fallout from Obamacare, which is truly not an Affordable Care Act, and it is falling apart before our eyes. I've talked to so many people in our state who find that it is not affordable, and their premiums are skyrocketing. As it relates to pre-existing conditions, look, we in Wisconsin knew how to take care of people with pre-existing conditions before it was cool to take care of people with pre-existing conditions. We had a program, a health insurance risk sharing pool that was in place before Obamacare. We had one of the lowest uninsured rates in the nation. We had a robust insurance market, and we did all of that on our own, which again goes back to my original point that states really know how best to take care of their people, and Obamacare was a one-size-fits-all program that's not working. I think that problem solving should come back to the states. Let us do the best that we can, because we know how to take care of people in our state. And we've got great teaching facilities, hospitals in every corner of this wonderful state of ours.
So as far as repealing and replacing the Affordable Care Act, do you think that it's not necessary on a federal level then?
Oh, it needs to be replaced, absolutely, but I would like to see most of that power returned back to the states to let the states make the individual decisions. We need to create a market where one doesn't exist. We've lost that. When Obamacare went into place, we didn't even have a free market then. We added layers of government. We need to peel back those layers. And it would take us probably an hour to talk about it, and I'm passionate about it, and I would love to, but I know you don't have the time to do that right now.
And certainly, I think recent polls show that 72% favor protections for those with pre-existing conditions, so that is something that should be addressed.
And we had already addressed that here in Wisconsin, and I support that, and I want to make sure that as we move forward with plans, that's something we can easily put back into place right here in Wisconsin. We know how to do it.
All right. When it comes to Wisconsin's Medicaid program, how would you work to make the system better from a federal level?
Well, I think returning as much power back to the states, there's a theme here, I really believe in this, is one of the best ways through block grants. And we've done a great job here in Wisconsin of making sure that we protect all of our citizens, those in need, so that they do have access to quality health care. And I feel very strongly about continuing that. We took care of our neediest of needy without expanding Medicaid through Obamacare. And that's great, to the great leadership of Governor Walker and our legislature. So I feel very confident as somebody who would represent our country as a U.S. Senator that the people in place here in Wisconsin will be able to take care of our Medicaid population.
As we wrap up our conversation, we're headed into the August primary. 4 others are running for the nomination, including Kevin Nicholson, as you know. What separates the two of you?
Well, I'm the person with the proven, consistent track record as a conservative. I think the problems in Washington are great, the stakes are high, and we need to send somebody to Washington who understands how to solve with these problems. I've done it here in Wisconsin. I've been a part of this amazing reform process that we've had here in our state, and we need people with strong leadership, people who will follow through on the president's agenda. I've done that here. I've been a strong leader. I've never wavered. I've been through some pretty difficult situations from when our capital was taken over. I never buckled then. And I want people to know that I will do the same for them in Washington. I'm a nurse. I listen. Nurses listen. We like to make sure that we understand the concerns of our patients. I advocate in much the same way for my constituents, and that's what I would do in Washington.
And the biggest problem facing our nation and how you would solve it. I know that's a big question in a very short answer. How can you respond to that?
Well, I think there are many, but obviously economically we want to make sure we continue tax reform so that individuals have the ability to do more with their hard-earned dollars, and we've taken some great steps in that area. We need to do more. Immigration reform continues to be the #1 issue I hear as I travel around the state. And replacing Obamacare, I would say those are the 3 areas. I have very many ideas on how we can do that, and I want to be a part of that solution.
All right, thank you. Leah Vukmir, Republican Party candidate for the U.S. Senate. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Erin. I really appreciate it.
If you have a newsmaker in your town that you think we should have on the show, let us know. Send us an email at tips@wearegreenbay.com or message us on Facebook. And be sure to join us again Sunday at 7:30 a.m. Have a great day.